Yeah, nah. What the heck is going on here? What is going on here? Oh, man. Hold up. I'm about to say something to make you not like me. You might catch feelings and you might want to fight me, but I don't really care, I'ma say it anyway. While most comedic guys seem soft and gay, I'm not saying all, but a large amount. Have you ever had the words that come out of their mouth? Yeah, they cuss like a sailor, but they follow my eye. They carry unks and wearing makeup and thinking they hot. I think they need to stop. This is a new era. I wonder if the pharaohs really wore mascara. They probably was a death mask misunderstood. Don't let them D-boys catch them up in the hood. Why NOI? Stop patrolling the block. We get shot by the cops and we calling the cops. Come on, op. Y'all was on another level. The black man was God, the white man the devil, and the white man, or better yet the European, and the Mars and the bean pies are sold by Koreans. I'm talking what I'm saying. I'm just a reporter. How you call a woman bees and you got a daughter? Talking about the Hebrews that demonize women and choose Esau over brothers and Kemet. Probably timid, soft, and scared to fight. Yelling and wearing spikes, kinda fake me outright. But you can't fool me. You make a little noise, but deep inside, y'all some scared little boys. If you really wanna ride, let's take it to the school. Better yet, City Hall instead of yelling like fool. I ain't tripping, cause you ain't busting the grapes. It appears that you fear and you in love with hate. Correct me if I'm wrong, we might all don't get along. European psychology got us all gone. You think we divided, cause I wear fez and you wear and she wear dreads. But the vision it don't start there, it starts in the head. I'm here to spread love and get you out the bed. To get you out the bed. I'm here to spread love and get you out the bed. The vision don't start there, it starts in the head. I'm here to spread love and get you out the bed. Wake up. I'm here to spread love and get you out the bed. Wake up. I'm here to spread love and get you out the bed. Wake up. I'm here to spread love and get you out of the bed. Wake up. I'm here to spread love and get you out of the bed. Come on. Oh yeah. I'm here to spread love and get you out of the bed. Let's go talk. Wait, come on. I think we divided cause I got a fez. And you wear and she wear dreads. Wait a stop. Y'all think we divided cause I wear fez. And she wear and he got dreads. Moors need to wake up too, so I'ma wake up you, so we can get together, do what we gotta do. We ain't done much since the prophet left. Moors standing on law, we still in this mess. Haven't built the town to hold us down. In court standing on law, looking like clowns. Now we've been to the temple, claim we follow the prophet, but I follow the prophet and I understand logic. People in the temple hit the streets, all boots on the ground, and we ain't getting relief. The murder rate and be more has just gone crazy. Dope fiends ODing in the hood on the daily. Weed waste with chemicals, juice, drink and serve. We fighting over information, we got some nerve. They say that we conscious, we might know a little something, but we just run, cause we don't know nothing. We You think we divided? Cause I got a fez, and he got an unk, and he got dreads. The vision don't start there, it starts in the head. You think we divided? Cause I got a fez? We lost.
White swag, flashes and turbans, through the Moorish flag, the lion and living murder. But you do me for love, you denying some that more white swag, flashes and turbans, through the Moorish flag, the lion and living murder. But up from the sword, it's water the lost soul. Repent from your simple ways, Drew Ali. You say you free for send your babies to day school. To jump the hoops, eat they food, you they food. Hit doggy doggy when you're gone with that collar on. You still ain't even if you get your Rottweiler on. This moment right here ain't for the passive. The shook, sweating, brow, dripping molasses. Reactive, and we'll speed up the molecule. But slow down the ethers, back the flesh with the olive view. Praise the Lord for Prophet Drew, we honor you. The quarter song, wheel on me, rendezvous.
The reconciliation of the one and the many. His manifestations are plenty, yet he has no partners, unlike the created, into whom was Jesus first reincarnated. MCs get cremated, spitting that blasphemy. I tend to agree with Ibn Arabi and Al-Ghazali. 99 names, attributes infinite in number. Nor sleep nor slumber overtake me, not bound by the petty emotions of frail and weak humanity. Such insanity, there can't be two absolutes, but that would change the definition of the word. The word is bond, the fix is solved, in his mind revolves countless universes. That's why we call him Father. He's farther, yet closer than your jugular vein. Al-Malik, the king will always reign.
To the one who is supreme, most wise, beneficent, executive of everything, seen and unseen. And in him alone belong worship, adoration, and praise. For the rest of my days, wonderful he is in all ways. His knowledge transcends the patterns that your thoughts relate. Stretched out the heavens with his hands, fingers draw courses for the stars. Build worlds with his words, smite planets with his arm. Majestic, omnipotent, over the void. Don't take this anger or you'll be destroyed. He institutes the law of the government of all beings, and his will's built in the nature of each one of these things. His providence is always wherever his works rule with infinite wisdom. We stay in search of the first. There's but one Allah, the governor, the world, the author, creator, almighty, eternal, incomprehensible, the father of the five principles.
Yeah. Islam. I'm trying to be your friend, man. Trying to be your friend, bro. Help me out. Meet me halfway. Come on. I wanna be your friend. Peace and love. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. I said you ain't never met a more like me, and you ain't never ever gonna meet one again. Now let me be your friend. Peace and love. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. I said you ain't never met a more like me, and you ain't never ever gonna meet one again. I wanna be your friend. Peace and love. Now let me be your friend. Peace and love.
Moorish fashion. All things considered, I start laughing. A grown man with a ponytail, another calling us Neanderthal, and he all pale. I mean, for real, this is what it come to, my brother. We got nothing better to do than talk down to each other. Yeah, we can be scholarly, or we can get gutter. We are the children of our father, and the breast of our mother has nursed us all. And first of all, we keep from out of being trying to hurt us all. You need to chill, my brother. Tell the elder the same, cause on the real, my man, I'm really about them things. I can take the feds off and get back in the low and return to the state where they used to call me dope. But no, I'm rolling with the prophet of Allah. I want love, not war. Standing on that floor, and I'm holding the square. The compass and the axe that might be too deep. Yo, let's not get off track. See, our prophet was an adept. Do you know what that is? An Egyptian adept is a brother who lived by the universal science developed in the Nile. We call it Islamism, but it's the same, my child. Sit at the foot of a master. I train you up, but I might have to bang you up. I still love you, and those that's talking that this ain't Islam. Everything the prophet brought is in the Quran. All the other stuff, prostrate and cover up, is just the start. And there's space to me, the law's the heart. You can dress like Imhotep, but you can dress like a herb. While the Moorish American Muslim unifies the word. You can say what you want about Dr. York, but he gave you different variations of the same thought. You don't appreciate that. You won't appreciate me. Appreciate the holy and divine true Ali. People refuse to admit it. He the first that ever did it. Europeans hope that the Moors would forget it, but we here, strong, alive and well, resurrected from hell, with a story to tell. So pay attention and listen and consider the facts. You know it's humanly impossible for you to be black. I guess a Chinaman is yellow, a Mexican is brown. Just think for a second how ridiculous it sounds. We can turn it around, but we must unite. It's okay to disagree, but we don't have to fight. Cause if we have to fight, you know how we get. I'm still learning to love. No, I'm not there yet. So work with me, fam, and I'ma work with you. And let's all work together and do what we gotta do. Cause on the real side, we haven't made no progress since 1929 when the prophet left the flesh. We got an Asiatic president, men marrying men, psycho shooting up a club and don't see his own sin. And those that say they conscious, that took your bucks, move straight to Hollywood and straight living it up. And y'all picking it up, straight cheesing and grinning. But it was your bread to help them set it off in the beginning. Be careful what you put in your soul, cause it could blind you. Unfortunately, some people get paid to misguide you, misguide you. Oh yeah, I wanna be your friend. Peace and love, let me be your friend. Peace and love, I said you ain't never, and you would never. You ain't never, ever, ever. You ain't never met a more like this, and you ain't never, ever, ever gonna be one again. I wanna be your friend. Peace and love, so let me be your friend. Peace and love, oh yeah, you ain't never met a more like this, and you ain't never, ever, ever gonna meet one again. So let me be your friend. Peace and love, so let me be your friend. Peace and love, I wanna be your friend. Yeah, let me be your friend. All these men, we ain't trying to be enemies. I wanna be your, so let me be your, I wanna be your friend. Hey, yeah.
One second, family, 1 second. I'm trying to share the link. I'm a little bit late today because I've had some things to do, but nevertheless, we're coming up on watching a stream with Sister Dana Marniche, the renowned scholar who has been quoted in the works of Dr. Ivan Van Sertima and a few others. Ivan Van Sertima is the brother that wrote the book They Came Before Columbus, if I'm not mistaken. I could be chopping it up a little bit, but this sister, she's just world renowned, known for the works of the origin of the ancient Canaanites, the origin and I mean, she just put everything in perspective. So give me a second. I want to get it out and let everybody know that we're here. So give me 1 second. Be right with you. Got you.
It's easy to point out the differences that we have, but it's about love and it's about unity. We must move away from ritualism, formalism, and custom, and
One
customs.
God, one aim, one destiny. What we need now most is unity. One destiny, one destiny. One God, one aim, one destiny. The stars and the planets, the cup to the clouds, the lion to the lamb, the mother to the child. The winners, the losers, the clock, the calendar, the dial. Victory is assured, but the time is now. True king to hold back the flames of your marshal. Headed for Rome, shoot through it like a harpoon. Serving justice, you should double take cover. Go the age of the wars, yeah, that's me off the cover. Yeah, fresh out the water, get my gizmo on. United front, books and bitches, no bond. I know you used to Luther, but check out my love song. Either we making babies or getting our slug on. I mean, I'm all bodies, gonna enjoy that butter love. The different great bodies learn everything but love. For the love, if you love, it'll live you love. Let the incense rise, let's pour down the sun. The bonds of affection make us one in his abode. The clasp of the palms sound like claps when they explode. You marching with your soldiers on ironclad modes. Fighting the rival men must be what he knows. One God, one aim, one destiny. What we need now most is unity. One destiny, one destiny. One God, one aim, one destiny. The stars and the planets, the cup to the clouds, the lion to the lamb, the mother to the child. The winners, the losers, the clock, the calendar, the dial. Victory is assured, but the time is now. This a letter to the grand chiefs, a message to the few. Made a will of the law, guide the actions that you do. This is the job of the bomb tech. Careful what you do. Next a value for the human soul, made a force be with you. As you enter the grand text with symbols of Rex, splinters of the MSTFA, but still perfect. Gotta put this back together, but with no corrects, no adjustments, and we got no time left. Love may manifest, all light is a feather in your chest. And skins for infiltrators and forever no rest. This line is for the members, it's past time to surrender. There's no time to waste.
So look, on Moorish World TV tonight, we're gonna live stream the great scholar Sister Dana Marniche. She is going to be talking about the African origins of Islam, where people believe that Islam is, excuse me for a second, I got a cold, where people believe that Islam is an Arabic thing, that it's just exclusively for the Arabs, the pale Arab that is. Sister Dana Marniche is bringing information to show and prove that there are origins of Islam in Africa. So when people try to turn away from Islam, whether you say because they watch how people dress, they watch how people pray, there's a science behind Islam. And the origins of Islam have African origins. And the sister comes to show and prove that. So in a few minutes, I'm going to start the show and we're going to stream it. I got a cold. Hey, Talik, now, Talik, look, Talik. Man, look, Talik, man. Sometimes, man, look. I got a cold today. So, like, I'm on the casual, that means talk about mode. Yeah, man. That's a little something. Yeah, nah. So if y'all can share this real quick, I'm going to lock this out so I can get on. I want everybody to share this little live stream real quick to let people know that the Sister Dana Marniche will be streamed on Moorish World TV. And if anybody like history, Google her, Dana Marniche Reynolds. Google Sister Dana Marniche Reynolds. She's very qualified. She's very qualified to do everything. I mean, to teach on everything that we consider to be relevant in the Moorish Science Temple of America, in the Moorish paradigm, and in the African community, plain and simple. So y'all gotta work with me. I'm about to go to the channel right now. I'm a little bit half-cocked because I don't feel good, man. I got a cold, man. But I'm gonna make sure that everybody gonna get this information. I gotta do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do what I gotta do. So even though I'm under the weather, look at my eyes, red as ever. Look at his big eyes. Look at his eyes. Eyes red as ever. Nose running. I don't care. Y'all gonna get this work. I'm gonna make sure that my people get to know that Allah is leading on and victory is sure. It is what it is. So I'm about to go on the channel right now. I ask that everybody share it so we can get some work done. All right?
Here we go. Peace and love, family. Man, I'd like to see y'all come in, man. Let me talk to y'all real quick, man. Let me talk to y'all. Hold on. Let me talk to the people real quick. Because they waiting for me. People waiting for me, so. Hold on. Hold on one second. What's up, family? I'm on Facebook right now, right? I'm on Facebook. Hey. I can't, man. You know, man, I got, you know what I mean? That's how they do in Baltimore. That's the Baltimore laugh. You know what I mean? But this is what it is, right? Again, we're going to live stream Sister Dana Marniche. If you like history, this is your show. This is about the African origins of Islam. People think that Islam is exclusively Arab, pale Arab at that. But the sister coming with some information to dispel that. But her information is not combative. She's just a scholar, she's a researcher, she finds it, and she put it out there. It's up for you to accept it or not. Now, hopefully by Sunday, I feel a little bit better. So I can continue chopping these. So I can continue. Know what I'm going to do. So hopefully y'all feel a little bit better on Sunday. On Sunday, I feel a little bit better. I'm watching the drama. Hopefully the drama calms down. It seems like they got a little bit quiet. Hakeem Bey, I think they got a little bit quiet, bro. If they keep quiet and stay in their lane, I leave them alone. If they keep quiet and stay in their lane, I will leave them alone. But if they don't stay in their lane, they're going to have to get dealt with. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? See, what people don't understand, I'm a little more than just screaming and yelling. I got bars, and I got some intelligence. Peace, Sister Paula, and peace, Sister Dawn, peace, Sister C. Jones Bay. This is the thing. What people don't understand is that the prophet was right. And I'm going to prove that the prophet is right every chance I get. Now, if y'all don't want to work towards the goal of the prophet, that's fine. That's cool. If you don't, let me tell you something. All right, hold on. Let me cut this down. I want to talk to y'all as I get this, before I get this show started, because it's on my heart. Let me speak what's on my heart. That's what they say. That's what they say. Listen. Let me say this. If y'all watching on Facebook, y'all watching on YouTube, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali came with a very simple method to bring forth our liberation, i.e. salvation, interchangeable. Now, if you are a part of a temple, if you are not a part of a temple, and you don't understand what the end game of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is, then the both of you have a problem. That's one problem. If you don't know where the prophet is trying to take us, if you're in the temple, outside the temple, you both have a problem. Secondly, if you know where the prophet is trying to take us, it shouldn't be hard to unite. And all of us go in that direction. It's easy to see where the prophet is going. It's easy to see where the prophet is going. And if you can't see or recognize where the prophet is going, ask some questions. Inbox somebody. Say, where is the prophet trying to take us? What is the end result of me joining the Moorish Science Temple of America? What is it? It's not what have the Moors done in 20 years. Because we need you to do what they haven't done in 20 years. That's what we need. We don't need you to ask. We don't need you to ask. He said, the prophet said, don't call him that. I don't know. What that mean? What that mean? Dambo, what that mean? The prophet said, don't call him that. We don't need people to say, what has the Moorish science done in 20 years? We need people to say, whatever the Moorish science haven't done in 20 years, I'm going to do it in 3. And I'm going to unite with people and get it done in 3. That's it. That's it. Now, if you don't want to do no work, the Moorish Temple of America is for the uplifting of all humanity. If you don't want to really do no work, then this ain't for you. The Moorish Temple ain't for you. If you don't want to realize nationality and the full functionality thereof, the Moorish Science ain't for you. If you don't want to realize the full functioning end result in perpetual nation, the Moorish Science ain't for you. It's going to take all of us to work. Moorish Science don't work on an individual basis. Moorish Science is not like let me see. Remember that handball joint? They had the string to the ball with the little paddle, and you would peek, 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 peek. That's a one-man sport. You had the little paddle joint, had the little string. I don't care. I tell my age. Had the little paddle on it, and had the little string, and you hit that joint. Peek, 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 peek. You be like that. And girls back in the day, they used to take them joints, pink, 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 and they twist that joint around, swinging around the joint, tick, 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 and they hit it all. Remember that paddle ball? Remember that? But that was a one-person thing. 2 people couldn't play that. Well, unlike that, Moorish Science is a collective effort. Nationhood is a collective effort. It takes everybody. It takes everybody. But first you have to understand where the prophet is trying to take us. If you don't understand that, if you think the prophet is all about contention, battling, and conflict with the authorities, you missed the mark. Because the prophet never showed that. Nobody can show me in history where the prophet literally on the front line challenging everything to cause conflict. In fact, the prophet tell the Moors, stop flashing your cards at Europeans, for it causes confusion. The prophet wasn't about any type of thing that could cause confusion. So we have to conclude that there's a smooth operation to bring us up out of this situation. And if you don't understand the smooth operation to bring us up out of this situation, then you need to inbox me. You need to inbox me. And whether you agree with me or not, inbox me. You know what I'm saying? Inbox me. But anything that causes confusion, a hint of confusion. I'm talking about a hint of confusion. But we're not talking about fixing the wrong. That ain't telling you to lay down and be soft. That's not telling you not to speak out. What I'm telling you, you have to know what you're doing. Are you acting in the right? Are you acting in the wrong? What motivates you? What pushes you? We try and build a nation. And just like I got the virtual temple ready to be up and running. Also, the Moorish village, hopefully by spring, I'll be moving there. That is upward mobility. You know, the virtual temple will allow people to join the temple. You know what I mean? So what if a cop pulls you over? You don't follow the Constitution? What you mean? It's a traffic stop, sister. Follow the Constitution, I'm going to give him my driver's license. I actually have a driver's license. Here, what you want? Send me on my way. What you want? I'm not challenging him for a $20 ticket. That doesn't make mathematical sense. I know. See, the difference between me and a lot of people, I know that we've been conquered. I know that we don't have unity. I understand that. So I ain't gonna be a fool with my 7-year-old in the back seat talking about I got a right to travel, when these hillbillies got a right to bust you in your head. And we'll do it. And we'll do it. You know what I mean? So you can be dead right. I'm going to say it again. You can be dead right. That's what you want to be. You can be dead right. I choose to be alive and right. And when better days come, we will address some of these things that we find that is horribly, grossly misused and meant to oppress us even further. You know what I mean? We need some unity in the house. So listen, we're going straight to the video with Sister Dana Marniche on Moorish World TV. If you like history, this show is for you. Period, point blank. I hope y'all share this. I got a little cold, so I'm under the weather. You know what I mean? I got a little cold, you know what I mean? I got a little cold. So I'm under the weather, so I got to chill out a little bit. Gotta get some rest, you know what I mean? I gotta lay back. See, I got on my smooth shirt today. See, I had to go and deal with some things today. No, man. It's love. I see y'all on the other side. Moorish World TV. We about to go in. Peace and love. So, family, we back here on Moorish World TV, and hopefully we got people who came in to view what we're about to do. Let me get myself together. We're about to go in. So give me 1 second. I'm looking at the video over here. I want to see how many people watching. Okay, there we go. All right, let me look at the chat. Let me look. Oh my goodness. Give me a second. Let me look at the chat. I need to see my people in the chat. I can't see it from here because I'm using this program, right? I just stepped my game up a little bit. So as I step my game up, this program, at this point, I haven't learned how to look at the chat yet. So give me a minute, and I'll be looking at the chat on my phone so I can holler at my people. I got people too. Peace and love, Amy Evans. Peace and love, Melanin Rich Nagaz. Islam, brother, Islam. Ed O'Neill, peace. Peace, family. Look, I want y'all to share this. This is a great history lesson, but this is for those who really want to learn. You know, this is for those. This is not for those that's looking for hype. If you're looking for hype and drama, you're not getting it here. This is not that type of show. If you're looking for conflict and beat them down, bang, boom, bip, this is not your show. This is strictly for those who are interested in learning the African origins of Islam. She also do something on the Moors. Now remember, this sister is not a Moorish American. So don't look for Moorish vernacular. If she uses the term black, that's what we want. We want the pure truth from the person that has done the research and from her personality, not yours. Or not your understanding of how her personality should be. Even in this video, you'll see some brothers that say, don't the word Moor mean black? I was there, I didn't say nothing. I let them go on and on and on because it really doesn't make a big difference to me because in 5 minutes I can dispel that. But what's the point? I'm there to film and get this information for my people, and so that's what I did. So here we go, family. I hope y'all enjoy it. It's about 1.5 hours long. And then I'll come back midway and we're going to chop it up a little bit. Please support. I want y'all to support the Moorish Village if you're able to. And support everything that if you see somebody trying to do something good, man, support that. That's just what it is. So here we go.
Arab people, that the Moors were black Arab people, that the Moors were North African black people. Okay. So, and the reason why I think I understood or came to understand this a little quicker than other people is that I grew up in Theosophy, which is a Masonic kind of practice. I'm not Muslim, I'm not Moorish. But I grew up in a kind of practice which is based on ancient Egyptian and ancient Hinduism, and ancient esoteric Christianity, and Islamic thought. So, has anybody heard of Madame Blavatsky? So that's the kind of stuff I grew up on. She wrote a book called Isis Unveiled, in which she talked about how she went over to India, and India said that people that were the born builders who built all these megaliths around the world were the Ethiopians. So you can find that actually nice as embryo. But the problem was at the time, people thought the Ethiopians were dark-skinned Caucasian people, black-skinned Caucasian people. And in fact, all the people that you're going to see on these slides, which are a lot, I'm actually a lot of work into it, so, were somehow made into non-black people. These are all black people. When I say black, I mean coming from an African or black African source. And I'm including the Afro-Asiatics, which are the original Arab people. The original people that spread once to India, Sumeria, well into Persia, Indonesia, and many other places. So okay, let me just go back. So I wrote also an article in Egypt, Child of Africa, which is another Dr. Van Sertima's books, The Myth of the Mediterranean Race, and it dealt with the fact that all of the early skeletons in North Africa and Europe that were in the Neolithic or immediately before the prehistoric period, African types were. I gotta somehow be near my stuff.
Yeah, I can move. Do something to move it.
All right. African people were in Neolithic Europe, Neolithic Asia, where there were also other people there, but they were different. So I agree with Baron. I'm just meeting Baron. And he wrote me some letters, and I'm thinking, this is great. But I thought we were old for that. Very confident, very big speaker. Thank you.
Thank you.
But so and I know you spoke Arabic. So I agree with him that it's important to understand the way maps change the world. But it's also important to understand about how people move and settle in different places and have done that since the Neolithic period, which is, about 5,000 years ago in most of the world. So up until 5,000 years ago, most of the world was occupied by black people. There were also the ancestors, and I shouldn't keep saying black in the sense of, because I'm not a racist, I'm anthropologist, I'm also into shamanism and ancestors, and I'm going to say again, like I said last time in a Moorish video, that I respect and honor all of my ancestors, and I hope that you guys all do. We all come from European, everybody in America comes from European as well as African or Afro-Asiatic ancestry. So in a shamanist-based tradition, we have to respect our ancestors. And some of my ancestors that have been teaching me this stuff, because it comes directly from them, have been Europeans. So a lot of what I've picked up has been through kind of like a clairvoyant reckoning and dreams and visions and even Akasha records. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. But that's how I got inspired to start studying this stuff. So, okay, I need to, let's see.
Yeah.
Is there any, I can't put it up here, right? Yeah, let me sit down. And let me just say also, I did study with Dr. Van Sertima for a while. I actually deliberately took his class so that I could get to know him and talk to him about the Moors. And then I went to the University of Chicago, where I studied with the discoverer of Tasseti, which is a civilization directly south of Egypt, which actually, or what I should call Kemet, that actually led to the development of Kemet. Because I'm not sure how much you're familiar with the the roots of the Nilotic area, but a lot of those people lived in the Sahara and when it was still green, tropical Sahara. Well, Sahara means desert, but it was tropical before it became desert, and those people, as the Sahara became desert, they moved from that area into the Chad region and Numidia, and then finally into Arabia. And that's why you see that, and you might not know this, but a lot of black African people, or Afro-Asiatics I'll call them now, still live in Arabia. But we're not, this is not going to be focused on Arabia. Can I take this off?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sorry?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you define these terms? Because I know we hear
Yeah, I
them a
need to do
lot,
that.
and I don't know the proper meaning of them, but words like Nilotic, Hamitic,
Okay.
Semitic, I mean, you hear them bouncing around a lot in the mainstream, but they never really clearly define them.
Well, Nilotic? Nilotic is just refers to the Nile.
Okay, so people that originated in that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Now, I was saying Neolithic as well. Neolithic just refers to the time period directly before the historic period.
Okay.
And actually, there was also the Copper Age when they started making copper, and
So
Neolithic,
Neolithic,
which is older than the Neolithic.
so Neolithic would be around the Copper Age or after?
The Neolithic, yeah, it depends on what part of the world you're located in, but it's
Okay.
in that, yeah. They were doing Copper Age work, 3,000 years ago in Arabia, But Neolithic is usually a little bit older than that. And then there's Chalcolithic. There's all these stages, around the world, but you don't need to know that so much. I'm not going to focus a lot on that. These are anthropological terms. And I actually studied physical anthropology, or the theories regarding physical anthropology at the University of Chicago under at that time she was the director of American Anthropology. So, uh-oh. Now what do I do? Oh. All right, let me get to work before something goes on here. All right, so, does anybody know about who the Moors were? I want to hear something about who the Moors were. I know what I'm saying, yes.
They conquered Spain and ruled for almost 800 years.
Okay. They conquered Spain and ruled for almost 800 years, right?
That was the name that the Europeans called the Muslims that they encountered.
Okay, they called Muslims that. They also called Christians and Jews Moors. And I'll explain that in a bit.
I thought Moor meant anyone with a dark complexion.
Yes, the Moor actually meant anyone with a black complexion.
Black
Not just
complexion.
originally it was a black complexion. So,
Okay.
for example, this is a late period of the Moors. This is 1,000 years after you first hear about the Moors. Okay, this is a document during the Crusades, and it says, from Africa too there came countless tribes, the Natabarai, Gatilians, Numidians, and from the scorching south, the people named Moors, or Mauritanians. So this is south of Numidia, which is the coastal area of Tunisia and Algeria. Okay, so anything south of that we call the Moors, or Mauritanians, and westward of Egypt. From the Greek word Moros, which means black. Okay, so even today you'll hear Greek people talking about the Mavros, meaning the black people. So, and it's often, yes.
So are you saying that Moor is a European term? Or
It ended up being a European term. It might have originally been a Semitic or Afro-Asiatic term.
Yeah, I heard it was Phoenician.
Possibly Assyrian, or Syrians brought it in for the Western people, or for the Amorites, who were the original Canaanite people westward of Assyria. And I'll get to that later, though. Okay, so here in the 7th century, we have a Spaniard from Seville talking about the Moors across from in Morocco, on the coast, across from Spain. So he's saying, quote, the Moors were black as night, while the Goths are white. Okay? At the same time, or actually about a century later, there was a chronicle after the Moors had conquered the Iberian Peninsula that talked about the Moors and their color. It says, and this is taken from, these are actually all taken from scholarly books. I don't know what happened to my notes down here. I'm going to put that in. So that says, the Syrians, and Syria was actually not at that time considered Arab. So Syrians were different than Arabs, but here the guy's translating it as Arabs. But the Syrians on Egyptian horses who were, quote, crossing the territory of the Moors to attack Tangiers, which was in Morocco, with their swords should be. But the army of the Moors, realizing this, immediately burst forth from the mountains to the battle naked, girded only with loincloths covering their shameful parts. When they joined with each other on the Nava River, the Egyptian horses immediately recoiled in flight as the Moors on their beautiful horses revealed their repulsive color and gnashed their white teeth. Despairing, they launched another attack. The Arab cavalry, meaning the Syrians, again instantly recoiling due to the color of the Moor skin. So they're talking about the extreme, blackness of the Moor skin at that time.
They're talking about the Arabs, you're talking about the Syrians?
Yes, at that time they're talking about the Syrians. Well, this translation actually of that document, which is an Andalusian document. Okay, so the Moors actually occupied from Libya to ancient Morocco, and what's today called Mauritania is south of that. Okay, east of the Nile in Africa was considered Arabia in the Roman era. East of the Nile in Africa was considered Arabia, as well as what we now call the Peninsula of Arabia. The southern part of Arabia, or the Yemen, was called India, or Middle India. And Abyssinia was called, Little India, and Abyssinia was called Middle or Central India. So, and the word India does not come from, modern India comes from the Arabs who went there in pre-Islamic times, and pre-Christian times. Okay? So I'm so happy that like so many people turned out today. I didn't think there was going to be many because of the rain and stuff. So the Moors in North Africa actually included first the people called Berbers or Berber. Have you guys heard of that? The Berber?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so the Berbers.
Oh, the Berbers, yes.
Yeah, so the point here you're going to learn is that the modern Berbers are a nationality and a language group. They're not necessarily always biologically related to the ancient Berbers, who were black African people. Okay. They called themselves the Berber. And so if I seem a little kind of mad sometimes, it's because it's so frustrating that people have learned the exact opposite of who these people were. So I'll have to call my ancestors down. Okay. So they were divided later on in Arabic texts into 3 groups usually, or 5 groups, and the major ones were Masmuda, Zanata, and Sanhaja. And the Masmuda were the people I just talked about along the coast of Morocco and in the mountains of the upper and lower Atlas. Okay, so there's, let me get to that screen in a bit. So actually before the Almohad dynasty, there was the Sanhaja dynasty of the Tuareg people. Welcome. I like that song. Okay. All right. So the present Moors. This is what was known in the 19th century about the present-day people of North Africa, okay, as opposed to 500 years ago or 600 years ago within North Africa. So the colonialists knew this, but today apparently we don't, because they're trying to, make Berbers into, the fairest thing possible, The present Moors lying along the northern coast of Africa are descendants from the various conquering nations, and especially from renegades and Christian slaves. That's from Travels in Morocco by James Richardson in 1860. So he's saying that present-day occupants, or the so-called Moors of today, are Christian slaves and renegades, meaning people who turned Muslim. Okay. Robert Brown, a translator of Leo Africanus, who was an Andalusian Moor in Africa that talked about the different peoples in Africa. He said he talked about the endless European slaves who, turning renegade, became absorbed into the population of northern Africa. So in another lecture I was at, people didn't understand why so many people in North Africa were not the same complexion as the Moors are supposed to be. Or the people in North Africa, there's a lot of dark-skinned people, but mostly along the coast, and the ones that people try to show as the Berbers are very fair-skinned. They can look fairer than the Europeans. So Ibn Tumart, though, one of the Masmuda and Almohad leaders pointed out, okay, this is quoting another book, a recent book by Ronald Messier. Ibn Timur pointed out to the people of Timon, which is in Morocco, that many of their children had light complexions and blue eyes. This was in the 11th century too, whereas their fathers had very dark skin and dark eyes. It was a legacy of Christians who came every year to collect taxes for the Almoravid emir. Okay. So the Almoravids were a dynasty that around the 10th and 11th century in Spain and also North Africa, mainly Tuareg people. The Tuareg are the people that wear the veils, everybody knows, and go around on the camels. Yes, and they are actually were great slave traders, especially of European slaves, and then, you know, African slaves. So they're different complexions of Tuareg, but again, National Geographic and the other, you know, 20th century academic scholarship tried to make the Tuareg into white people and make the lightest skin of the Tuareg, you know, the true Tuareg. See, okay, so Timor is just about just 100 kilometers from Marrakesh, which was founded by the Almoravids, or the Tuareg, the original Tuareg. So I brought up the part about the complexions as well, is because the Tuareg tend to marry their slaves. They don't, you know, discriminate necessarily the way it was done later in Europe or even elsewhere in Africa. All right, so the other people that were next to the Moors were called the, I should have put a map up here first. I thought I had the map up here. Let me see them. Next to Africa, Africa was a place in Tunisia. Okay. It wasn't the whole of Africa. It was considered an area in Tunisia where the Beni Afur were, or the Ifrin Tuareg, and other Berber people. Next to that was the Numidians, where there were other, and Numidia comes from nomad, so they were nomadic people of the Zagara Africans and the Tuareg Africans. So this is one of their towns, Gadames, which is also, later on it's called, you know, the people are called Sudania. Okay, so the African Muslims and the Moors were people of Bilad as Sudan by the 14th century, when a historian called Ibn Khaldun lived, and he's considered like the Muslim father of history. And he had made all of these, let's see, Arabia and everything south of Sahel, Ghana, the Yemen, the Central Arabian area, and the western part of Arabia, or the Hijaz, where Mecca and Medina are. That was considered part of Bilad as Sudan. Okay, up until the 14th century, and the people of that area are all described as either black or asmar, which means yes, it's usually darker than me too. So samar or asmar. So,
I'm sorry, what was the well-known historian's name?
Ibn Khaldun, and another Andalusian, yes. I think he was also born in Tunisia. Because actually a lot of the Andalusians were pushed back down into Africa, or North Africa. And by then, there were so many converted peoples in Iberia, and a lot of them were actually, you know, descendants of Spaniards and Turks and Persians and the other people that were also in Spain. So not just black people in Spain, but you know, there were many dynasties in Spain. So here are the Moors of the Numidia of the Roman era, which is back in the few centuries BC. You can't see them, I guess. Wish I could have made this larger. But they're wearing dreadlocks, if you can see that. And they were famous for their horses. The Moors are famous for their horses. So, and here is a man of Gadames, which I just showed you, the ancient town of Gadames, which was considered at that time part of Numidia. or the nomadic area next to Mauritania. Okay, so, and these people also were part of the Gadamis is actually a town of the Garamantians. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing up the Berbers so much is because that is why we have the Negro Law of South Carolina. Anybody heard of that? Okay, so there's a document in America called the Negro Law of South Carolina. Chapter 1, Section 4 says the term Negro is confined to slave Africans, the ancient Berbers, and their descendants. It does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, such as the Egyptians, Moors, or the Negro Asiatics, such as the Lascars. Now, of course, the Egyptians aren't included because a lot of them are fair-skinned and, they're not really related to the Moors and other ancient Egyptian people. The Moors, as I said, it came to be used for Muslims in general. So in North Africa, they called everybody basically Muslim Moor. Except for the Portuguese, who continued to call the darker-skinned people the Black Africans, and other, whether in North Africa or in Sahel, they continued to call them the Moors or Moro-Foros. Okay. Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, so, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, on the other part of the, I don't know what slide it was the slide when you was talking about, I think the Berber people, and then it was, I think you were saying how they mix, like, how like now or something like that, they's different. No, it was the part where it was the 4 tribes, like.
The 3 tribes.
I think it was 4.
3 major tribes.
3 major tribes that made up the one Berber.
Yeah, I mean, the later Arabic writers, whoever they were, because by that time people were just called.
That's my question was like, because from my understanding, it was like a person that called it Ben Ziyad, they came in and fought those 4 clans, and then they end up becoming split up like that into that 4, and then like all of them became the Berber people. At one point, I just don't know the timeline on that.
No, are you talking about Khalid bin Walid?
No, Khalid bin Walid was different. Khalid bin Ziyad was the one who actually came into Spain and opened up Spain first. He was the first Muslim. Tariq ibn Ziyad. You know what I mean? He was the one that actually came into Spain with the mandate to take. You know what I'm saying? But the 4 tribes right there, the 3 tribes I was talking about right there, I was trying to figure out what time period was that?
That was basically 10th, 9th, 8th century. When the Arabs came in, yes, 8th.
Right, so that would be the same, that's probably the same people.
Yes, they were already separated though into those groups.
Oh, at that point?
Yeah.
Okay, will you use it ever? You know the time period again?
Between the 8th and the 15th century. There's still people, as I'll show, calling themselves, or who are these people.
Yeah, no, I know.
But it became, these groups became known in documents with the Arab invasions, yes, after Arab invasions. When they went up to Spain, they called themselves Masmuda, Zanata, Sanhada. That kind of thing. Yeah,
it's more common, and you can maybe address this as you go along. It's not really clear to me that the various, and I get that the term Moor was used by Europeans and different Europeans differently, but it's not clear to me in this so far that the various Muslims, like I'll be specific, the Muslims called themselves Moors.
I don't think they did.
Okay.
It was the Europeans that called them Moors.
However, there were some people called Amorites who may have brought that name in, or it could have been like other people think that it was a Semitic word meaning the Westerners. So I'm not sure, but I know by the 1st century, Moor meant black. By the 1st century AD, the word Moor just meant black, and that was said by Caecilius Italicus and by Theodorus Siculus and a whole host of Roman and early Greek historians. And remember, we're talking about North Africa now. We're not even getting into the later part. All these black people are in North Africa and had conquered even Spain in the Roman era. So the people like Isidore of Seville were very familiar with what the Moors looked like. Oops. All right, so does anybody know anything about the first dynasties of Arabia? Because it's not just the Africans that were called Moors, it was also the Moorish Arabs. They were included in that because of their color.
You said what? What did you say?
I said, what did I say? Yeah, okay. So the earliest dynasties, the earliest Arabs were still at this time black. And they were also included in the people called Moors in North Africa because, well, when they came in, and they came in a greater numbers in the 9th century with the Sulaim bin Mansur and Hawazin bin Mansur. So these are Arabs, for example, that portrayed by the Byzantines who fought against them in pre-Islamic periods, but this is the Islamic period. So these are the early Umayyad rulers. I can't remember his name, but so today, most people think of Arabs as, and Arabs are, different colors. There's blonde-haired Arabs. There's all kinds of different Arabs, and it's like Berber. It's a nationality and it's a language. But originally, the word Berber was only used for a certain people, which was an Arabian people who happened to be black in color, black-skinned in the sense that we use today in America. They were, between black and dark brown, So, does that answer your questions? Your question? I'm sorry. No, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So in Central Arabia, you have these people, the Dawasir, who are an example or representative of the original Azd and the original people of Central Arabia, but they're just the remainders, remaining people that made a great part of what were called the Ansar. The Ansar. Okay, so you guys are Muslim. Not me.
The Ansar. Right.
Aus and Khazraj were called Az, and they were black giants, usually described in records as black giants. So these people are also Az, and they are also described in records as black giants. Now, unfortunately, people don't know. I have a Blogspot, a Facebook, but people don't know who've been on my Facebook, some of them, that I have a Blogspot that's based on these, let me see. If you go to this Blogspot, you can go and find, everything I'm talking about. It's Afro-Asiatics.blogspot.com. So I'm going to put it up here.
Anybody received a flyer? It was on the flyer.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So you can go through and see all the different people who were Moors, captives of Aragon. The Moors that fought against the Aragon king. Okay. So anyway, I just want to let you know it's Afro-Asiatics.blogspot.com. Please keep that in mind. So there are people going on to my Facebook account and didn't even know that, because my Facebook account is called Afro-Asiatics Blogspot Owner, but they didn't know that I had a Blogspot. They didn't put that 2 and 2 together like that. But not naming any names. No, that was good. So.
Okay, sure. Not at this moment, but.
Oh, I thought you wanted to give the call.
Yeah.
Okay. So these were among the people that were called Moors in North Africa. The Tuareg. And as I said, they found the Almoravid dynasty of the 11th, 10th century. They were called the Philistine dynasty sometimes because they were very tall, extremely tall people. A lot of the Tuareg are over 7 feet tall.
Oh, really?
Yes. So they're kind of different people like the Azd, in fact, and that's where these people, that's who these people relate to. Actually. Yeah.
You said you talking about Aus?
Aus? No. I'm saying now there's a people called the Azd, meaning wolf. That used to AZD. Banu Azd. And the Banu Azd have the Khazraj and the Aus and the Kaza, and the Kaza, and the Kaza.
Oh, you're talking about I was in Kaza?
I'm talking about. What I'm saying, there was Aus, Khazraj, and the Kaza. Those are three different people.
Oh, okay. Cause when I said I was in Khazraj, when she had asked about the two tribes that made up the Ansar, it was just
there's more.
two.
Yeah, no, there's more than two that made up the Ansar. There's
It was different clans, but it was like they all formed into two major.
Well, the Kaza, mostly
Not a tribe, but two. There was a lot more than two tribes.
Well, what I think he's saying.
Were Ansars.
Yeah. What I think he's saying is that they did come from. They were like branches of those two tribes. So in a way, you're right. But yes, but there were many names for the Gafik and many people. Okay, so the Tuaregs, just to let you know, were divided into the nobles, who were usually the big, tall, giant Philistine type people.
I'm sorry. What were these people that were saying the people called?
That are Tuareg.
Tuaregs?
No, Tuareg.
Iranian?
Well, these are the Songhai related caste of the Tuareg. They're the Smith caste because the other part of the Tuareg, they don't get down from their camels and do the agricultural work and do the smithing and the building and the mining and So the Songhai did a lot of the smithy and other things, and they were like the clients of these bigger Tuareg.
So how would they relate to this question, the Watusi tribe?
Well, that's a good question because probably since they come from the same area, I'm going to get to that. They come from the East African area, and the East African area also includes the Arabian area. And that's why you have the Dawasir, who are equally tall, the Khazraj and Aus, who are giants, black giants. And it was my view that the Watusi, since they also claim to come from that area, actually of area south of Mecca and Canaan, that they're all the same people. So, but a lot of people don't understand that a lot of the Africans claim to have come from Canaan. These Berber people came, and Canaan was actually not Syria, but it was an area south of Mecca, according to the Arabs.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm giving different. I'm thinking I'm still speaking to you guys, the Moors who know all about the Canaanites and all that. But it's hard to. It's like you have to go. I have to start from the beginning, I think. So here's just a few descriptions of the Berbers. Okay. Here's a description of the Masmuda Berbers. In the 11th century, there's an Iranian ruler who described them and said they were black Africans. Okay, and they were taking part in the Fatimid dynasty. So the guy that wrote this book, or wrote the article, writes, and he's a scholar, supposedly, Massamida were Berbers from the western Maghreb. Nasir-i-Khusraw, who was the Iranian or Persian, however, says that they were blacks and characterized them as infantry who used lances and swords. Okay, so he points that out. Abu Shama of Damascus in the 13th century also said that the Masmuda were called black Africans in his book, The Two Gardens. That's also in Golden Age of the Moors, if you have it. But they have it by the Arabic name, which I forget. So that was pointed out by the, the king of Middle Eastern Studies, Bernard Lewis. That's the book that people use. So they found the Muwahid, or the Almohad dynasty, and I think, I forget what, I know Wahid means one, but I forget what exactly that means. So in the same period that they're talking about these people being black Africans, the 20th century, that's when the Almohad dynasty was founded in Spain, in Iberia and North Africa. They took it over from the Tuareg. Okay, so. Yes.
We'll take the intermission.
Okay. Well, I got so many more slides. I don't know if we're going to get through it all. Okay, thank you.
That Noah comes from European, when in actuality I have studied, I want to see if you're familiar with it, I have studied it to a degree that when they came when the Greeks came, and most importantly Strabo, what's his name, Strabo? S-T-R-A, Strabo. When he came to the area where these people that they coined the phrase M-O-O-R, more, whatever. In his notes, he says that these people were calling themselves Maori.
Oh, really?
He said it's indigenous.
It's possible.
You know, and so when I hear this argument where people always want to prove that Moor is a European construct, when in actuality, the Europeans, when they came upon people with dark skin, and the people that they came upon, according to Strabo, they were calling themselves Maori. They began to paint the whole continent.
Yeah. Because they're
with Moor.
Right.
I was wondering about that because they always say Moor.
Yeah.
It was a Greek word meaning just black.
Yeah.
Mauritania, the Romans named North Africa.
The thing is, it did come to mean for the Greeks and Romans just the black man, or to mean black. I mean that you can look in any scholarly work on the Greek word Moor, and they'll say that Mori means the black.
Absolutely.
Mori, to emphasize too, also means the black.
What I was wondering was maybe is it a Canaanite or Phoenician word?
Well, yes, it is.
They got a lot of words from.
Yeah.
They got their language. A lot of words in Greek are really Phoenician or Canaanite.
That's considered to be. Most scholars do consider that it's a Semitic or Phoenician or Assyrian word.
Because I know the Amorites were some of the early people that migrated into Morocco.
Right.
And they were calling them Moors for short. So it could be, you know.
Yeah. See,
Ifriqiya is another one. That was a lineage of people from southern Arabia who came there.
Right. The reason why I point these things out is it seems like we always want to give the European too much credit than what they deserve. Because when they come upon people, you know, for instance, they have painted a whole group of people at one point Negro, you know, the Moors in the Most High Temple of America, we acknowledge that, hold up, they didn't paint us all Negro, then they painted us all African American, then they painted us all this and all that.
Yeah, but like you say, it's not just them that painted us.
Yeah, exactly.
The word Negro,
though, was already there, and they just appropriated.
The word Negro is actually comes from the word Niger. It came like the word Moor came to mean black, but it comes from the word meaning the river Niger, and the river means Niger means the river in Semitic languages, or the Afro-Asiatic, Phoenician, Berber language groups. So that's how we get the word Niger or Nigra and Nagar or Nigger.
So Negro, because they say it's a Spanish word for black. So you're saying it's
not just. No, it's the Spanish word for black. It's the Greek word for black too.
Negro.
But that wasn't the original.
Nigri. Romans use the word nigri.
Okay.
But it comes from the Africans, or the African word for the Niger.
Yes.
The people of the Niger, the Nigritai, they call them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent. That was a
So I wanted to see if people are leaving. Okay. So somebody had a question of the connection between the Negro law of South Carolina, which refers to us as Berbers. And what I was saying is that, and what I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What was the question? The Negro what? The Negro law of South Carolina, which was 1848. Okay. And they refer to us as the ancient Berbers. Because, and I'm going to get to this later, but people in North Africa call themselves, and throughout the Sudan, or Western Africa, Sahel, the Berry. Okay? Certain people, like the Songhai, and related to the Songhai. So that's where the word Berry comes from.
So my question is this, so when you say they refer to us in the South Carolina law, right, as Berbers,
as our native name.
They are American Europeans.
Yes.
Who are not a very good authority because they knew very little about the tribes in Africa.
Well, exactly.
Right. They knew this. We know this, that they went in and studied the tribes who were weaker, who they could capture and enslave. The tribes who were politically and militarily weaker and economically weaker, who they could capture and enslave here. That's what they looked for. So certain tribes.
Are you telling me or asking me?
I sat in the back of the room and I listened.
I disagree.
They studied, the Europeans, I'm talking about American Europeans, studied who they could capture, and who they could easily enslave. So go ahead.
But can I just ask, I know you're trying to get to it, but I thought the point you were making on the South Carolina law was that the Americans here were trying to establish that the reason that black people should be enslaved because they were black and always fit for slavery or something like that. That's what
No, actually I was trying to show that the early Europeans, I'm sorry, not the early, but the colonial Europeans knew the native name which the Africans use today for themselves. Very, very. That's their name today, and it always has been. The people in North Africa do not, they'll tell you, they don't use that. They never have. It's Europeans in modern times that went over there and said, oh, these people, you know, they were the ones that were the Moors, not the black people. And so they started saying, well, you know, you're the Berbers, not these black people, you're the Berbers. You know, black people are fit for slavery. They're the docile ones, you know, they can't. Garamantes were considered white until like 10 years ago. Until people started finding what Luke and Garamanti was in northern Libya, or in central Libya. The civilizations in the Maghreb or northern Africa are considered by a lot of scholars today as white. They don't know that the earlier 600 years ago, up until 600 years ago, these were black civilizations. So that's why I'm going through what these people were called, how they were called black Africans. Now, there is an argument that people tried to make that recently, actually people tried to make that, well, when Europeans said black, they didn't really mean black, they meant like dark or tan and stuff like that. But these were not Europeans referring to the Berbers as black. These are Persians, Syrians, Turks, everybody but Europeans. It's only, well, the Crusaders also referred to the Moors as black and said that their name meant black. The Numidians were black as well as the Garamantes, and Egyptians, of course, were mostly black, or I should say not black skin necessarily, but dark in the sense that Africans are dark, because not all Africans are completely black skin. But the Moors were. Okay, the ones that were across from Spain were black skin people. Not just dark brown, a lot of them were black skinned people. Okay, where are they? So I didn't want you to miss this. I was talking about in the, okay, so a Greek Iraqi in Iraq wrote about the Berber women who were being brought in from North Africa as concubines. And he says, Berber women are from the island of Barbara, which is between the west and the south. Talking about Africa. Their color is mostly black. Pale ones can be found among them. If you can find one whose mother is of Kutama, whose father is of Sanhaja, and whose origin is Masmuda, so those are the three, well, actually there's two. Then you will find her naturally inclined to obedience and loyalty in all matters, active in service, suited both to motherhood and to pleasure, for they are the most solicitous in caring for their children. Very admirable traits, except for the concubine part. Okay. So what I'm saying is that the Berbers and all these dialects, all these people among the Turks, among the Persians, among the Syrians, all consider the Berbers to be basically the black Africans who are in the Sudan, Sahel, and were once in North Africa along the coasts. Along with the Vandals, because the Vandals also came in, the Romans came in and colonized. Okay? But the indigenous people were called Berbers, and they were black, and still are. So very, very are the Soninke. Let me get that out of here. The Soninke are the Songhai people who adopted the Man dialects. Okay, they were Songhai merchants, and they're called Soninke, and their kingdom of Ouagadougou, or one of their towns was called Ouagadougou, so I just put that there. Okay, Soninke, they look just like who? Us. Very, very. Okay, So Ibn Battuta also wrote a 14th century. They went from Aden, which is in southern Arabia, by sea, and after 4 days came to the city of Zayla, which is in Somalia. This is the settlement of the Berbers, a people of Sudan of the Shafi'a sect. Their country is a desert of 2 months' extent. The first part is termed Zayla, and the last is Mogadishu, which is the capital of Somalia. So at that time, especially, the Somalia are Cushitic speakers, which is related to the Berber dialects. So the Cushitic and Semitic and Berbers are actually all dialects from the same branch, which is now called Afro-Asiatic.
Oh.
Okay, you still can't see this. Let me see. Why can't I? These are Songhai people, Songhai women actually, just doing something. Just wanted to show you. They're basically African people, African Muslims. Okay, so, let me read that already. Okay, so there's also these people called the Gnawa, who they try to make into non-Berbers, or Ajnawan. And their ancestor is Jaina. We're part of the Zenata Berbers, or Beriberi, people called Beriberi. So the great Berber family of the Zenata being descended from Jaina, ancestor of the Zenata, people don't know that, that's where that name comes from, the Jaina tribe, which is a tribe in Arabia, especially ancient Arabia, of the Kuta Himyarites. So Himyar was in, does anybody know where Himyar was? Ancient Himyar?
Was it in southern Arabia, Saba?
Yemen, right?
Yes,
Saba.
Yemen. Saba, yes, extension of Saba, and the Manaim Kingdom. So just wanted to show you where everything is in respect, in case you didn't know. Here's Algeria, Libya, next to Egypt. Tunisia was Afar, or Africa, where Hannibal Afar came from. Okay, and there's Carthage was there too, where apparently
That was the Byzantine period you talking about?
well, Carthage was back in, before Roman times.
Oh, Roman.
Yeah, but they still have a remain. I meant to put the picture of the Carthaginian cities on here so you can see the same, similar to the rest of the ones across the Sudan and Sahel. Yes.
Question, was Carthage a European kingdom or African kingdom?
It was Afro-Asiatic.
Afro-Asiatic.
Venetian, and I'm going to get to the connection between the Venetians and the Berbers and the Tuareg.
Okay, what about Turkey?
Turkey's up in Europe, Eastern Europe, but the Turks were from Central Asia.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Okay.
The ones that call themselves Turkoman are in Central Asia, and then the other people that came across. The Europeans don't want to admit that the European Turks don't want to admit that the Turkoman of Central Asia, who were close to Siberia and Mongolia, were the real Turks.
Oh, those are rhythm Turks.
And those are the ones you see.
Right.
Those are the people you see portrayed mostly in the early paintings of Arabs.
Right, they look Asian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see that because they make themselves into the Arabs, but the Arabs were not allowed to portray the human figure because they were Semites. So true Semites didn't do that. That's how you know they weren't.
Oh, okay.
How you spell that, Turkoman?
Turkoman. So as you saw, the early Umayyad dynasty or Arab dynasty, Arabian dynasty, that wasn't their portrayal, that was portrayal by the Byzantine people. So anytime you see an Arab portrayed, it's going to be by other people. The Muslims or the Syrians or the Central Arabians tended to portray them like themselves because they tried to put themselves after the Umayyad, how do you pronounce it? Umayyad dynasty. The Abbasids ruled and they took control in the Middle East in a lot of places. So that's when you start to see looking down on the Arabs, who were blacker skinned people.
You said the
Wasn't the Umayyad considered themselves Arab caliphates?
They were Arab in the sense of linguistically, yeah, but they were ruled by, there's scholarly texts you can see that talk about who they were. They were the Persians and Turkish slaves of the Arabs.
Were you talking about the Umayyad dynasty?
No, after that.
After the Umayyad.
The Abbasids.
The Abbasids.
Abbasids and There's another dynasty around.
Fatimid.
Yeah, the
These are the ones that did
later.
The Fatimids were ruled by the Turks, like Saladin, but they were consisted of different groups like the Berbers and Masmuda Berbers, who were 20,000 strong and described as blacks, as we just saw. And the Sanhaja, who were also Berbers, and other people took part in the Fatimid dynasty. So, yes. Sorry, go ahead.
Before I break for a prayer, you had mentioned the name and family Mansour. You know where that came from?
Yes, it comes from the ancient name Marniche or Manasseh, or in the Torah or Bible, it's Manasseh.
Manasseh.
Manessa. Mm-hmm. And see, it's a shame you have to do your prayer because I'm going to be talking about all this. Yes, the Salim bin Mansur, Shalom, sons of Manasseh in the Bible.
M-A-N-A-S-A? Oh, Manasseh was one of the 12 tribes,
Son of
right?
Joseph, one of the tribes of Israel, yes. See, that's why I if I was anybody, I wouldn't want to stand to hear this, because when I found out about it, it just blew my mind.
That happens to be my family name, that's what I was.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Wow. Okay. So, all right, so I meant to point out that here's where Isidore is describing the Garamantes, who are, like I said, the black Songhai and Nagawa people. He says there are 3 tribes of Ethiopians: the Hesperians, who are in the western Maghreb, Garamantes, and Indians, meaning the people of Abyssinia and southern Arabia, as well as Indian Peninsula. Hesperians are of the west, Garamantes of Tripolis, and the Indians of the east. Okay, that's the 7th century Isidore of Seville. They call him Saint Isidore of Seville. He's a Christian, of course. So, but the colonialist view we find out today, not today, but in the 19th century when Diop was writing, because he's the one that pointed this out. Okay, he pointed out what Hermann Baumann said, an anthropologist of that period, German anthropologist, or maybe Baumann. Okay, we are told that the Queen of Dora wrote a Salilas. This reminds us of the ancient customs of the Libyan Garamantes. So we again encounter ancient white Africa with its matriarchal system, closely related to the peoples of Kordofan and Nubia, including Tata and Tuareg. See, so you notice how they're trying to relate all the so-called Hamitic, Cushitic peoples and make them into white Africa. Okay. Now let's see how the Garamantes are described. Okay, so if you read, if you can see down there first. They were ancient miners, builders, merchants, and smiths of the Moors. After spreading out from Numidia, Garamantia, and Mauritania, they built the Empire of Ghana, which is a vast empire stretching into Libya, actually. Okay, from Atlantic coast to Libya. So other kingdoms, Borneo, Masi, Khanum, even the Hausa are part Barbary, Gal. Let's see. So these people who were originally kind of Afro-Asiatic people adopted the Nilo-Saharan languages of the Tata, and they also moved across, moved south from Mauritania as well. The Dar-Tishit and all these ancient sites that you see are in, those Songhai sites are in Mauritania, the modern Mauritania, which is on the same latitude as Mali. Okay. Let's see. Okay, did I go over this? Oh. So here's how the Numidians are described, another so-called white people. Troops of black Numidians scour the field, and bold Illyrians, narrow bucklers wield. Here trying the Syrian and the Cretan bow, and the fierce Gauls provoked their well-known foe. So the Numidians were the ones that had the horses and, were black, as Lucan says. I think, yeah, he's a 1st century Roman poet who wrote Pharsalia. Silius Italicus, who was also Roman, wrote on his, and this is another translation, they try to make it poetic later in the Victorian era. On his hot steed, unused to curb or rein, a black Numidian prances over the plain. Okay, so that's in the Roman records. So next to the Numidians, actually the Numidians came from people called the Gatul or Godala. And according to Josephus, the ancient Jewish Roman, who wrote a lot about the history of North Africa and in fact the history of the Genesis, they were descended from the Cushites and the people of East Africa and Saba. Cush, by the way, was on both sides of the Red Sea. And so were the people. Masmuda, okay, I already discussed this. So the Masmuda went into the mountains, or Upper Atlas Mountains, where they're called the Shlua, and so many are still there today. They're still relatively dark. Here you can see Celia Cruz in there. But so that's the Sus region where the Masmuda are, Zanata, as well as Sanhaya. Okay, let's see, go here. And here's more Berbers. Here's more Berbers of the Sus Valley. And I was just going to go over again how the Garamantes and most of these people became Eurasian, so-called Eurasians. So the reason is because they had advanced civilization. That's one reason. Secondly, they were tied to, according to the Greeks, they were tied to the original inhabitants of the Aegean and Mediterranean. So Apollonius of Rhodes, for example, talked about that. He said they were related to the Carians, who were related to the Minoans, right? And Pindar also said something about it. And that was brought up by another historian. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dr. Winters, but so Garamantes, the ancestor of the Garamantes was Apollos, who was Garamus was son of Apollo, according to the Greeks, and Apollos was, I think, Styro, son of Minos, I forget which one, from whom the Garamantes were fabled to have derived their name. But of course, that's an African name, and if they were Carians, that means that the Carians got their name from the Garamantes, or the Minoans, and all the people in the Aegean and Mediterranean. So also they were advanced in hydraulics and metallurgy. So the Negro is linked to Tarzan in the Western mind. So I'm just describing here why they cannot be black. Okay.
I'm sorry. Why? Who can't be black? Why he can't be black?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why in the academic Western mind, even today, people not understand that the Garamantes were black. They'll try to link them to any way they can to other people, even to the Tuareg, who they suppose were not black, just because some of them are light today. And the Tuareg did not, like I said, they were not plow users. They didn't get off their camels to do any work. They made everybody else do the work, and they were the protectors. So you have a client-protector relationship throughout the so-called Middle East, from Arabia to the West Atlantic. And that's where the word Hamran and Shemron comes from. Shem and Ham. Shemron meaning the overlords, the people that protect the nomadic warrior, and then the people that do the agriculture and the mining. The settled people were called Ham, or Ham. That's where the word Ham comes in. Now Ham has nothing to do with Kemet. Ham is a word for the people called Hamath or Hamathites originally. It's related to a word similar to the vineyard, let's see, grapes, Ahmar, Hamar meant grape in Yemen. And also, that's where in the Bible you get the story about Noah's drunkenness, Ham seeing Noah drunk and that kind of thing. What else? I was going to say. So Kemet, though, has a completely different root. Even though the Kipti, or some of the Egyptians, were said to have been from the kingdoms. But we'll go into that later. It's hard to get grasp. If you have any questions, please ask. Or disputes. So
I have a question about Ham, because I thought that Kemet also signifies people of Ham. And just in dealing with genealogies, And I guess I had studied the Mandinka and Mali Empire, Songhai Empire, and just genealogies in general, the origin and migration patterns of Africans. Almost all of them, in their genealogies, trace their genealogy back to Khem.
No, they don't. They trace themselves back to Mizraim and Ham. Both of those were Arabian people, not Kemetians, believe it or not.
I'm just telling you what I've found.
Well, no,
I've been doing research for 40 years.
Yeah,
so it's insane.
To Kemet, you were saying?
Right.
What people
I'm
are talking
finding
But
this
what I'm saying is that
from the jellies and from the genealogies.
Europeans mix up the term Ham with ancient Egypt. Ham or Hamar, Hamran, has nothing to do with the same word Kemet comes from. Kemet meant the black land. But it has nothing to do with the Ham of the Bible. Yeah. But we can discuss it later. But I understand.
I have, that's in the book, Goldberg book.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, so it's actually,
that for Goldberg,
yeah, no, I didn't get that from Goldberg. That's what the Africans, you know, I'll talk to you later about it.
Okay.
It's Goldenberg.
Okay.
And actually his book was The Myth of Ham. The Myth of Ham. Or The Curse of Ham. Okay. So, but it's not that I'm being direct like this just because I want to be that way, but there's another aspect of this I want to get into. It has to do with the fact that Europeans have confused the myth of Ham, Shem, and Japheth with different parts of the world or different colors. So, and have confused the Semitic or Afro-Asiatic dialects. So Ham really has nothing to do with Kemet from the linguistic understanding of those words, but I'll get back to that. All right, so I'm just talking about now this part because of the salt trade, which you know still it goes on among the Garamantes. Here we go. There is a hill of salt, a spring, and a great number of fruit-bearing date palms, and the men who dwell here are called Garamantes, a very great nation who carry humid earth to lay over the salt and sow crops. Among them are produced the cattle which feed backwards because they have their horns bent forwards. That's the 5th century BC. Okay, actually, everybody I don't know how much you guys know about the Beja people and the different groups of Africa. This is getting a little esoteric. Probably, Numidia, you know, but so I don't want to get anybody bored, but I mean, it's important to understand why so many Africans have myth about coming from Canaan, or the Kenites. Okay. So, the groups I'm talking about, the Moors, were Azawag and Beli Zagawa, who are connected to the Beja, as well as the Agao or Zagwe dynasty of Ethiopia, as well as the Azawag Moors who went into Spain, and the Zagai or Songhai, who founded different kingdoms and empires across Africa. And these people are mentioned in ancient Arabian texts as well. So this is going to get a little bit into the reason why it was discovered, why they can't find the Israel in Syria, why they can't find the different towns of Israel and the different peoples of Israel. And they say that peoples of Israel are lost. They think that Canaanite is a myth. Canaanites were a myth, even though all these people are still alive and well. So what I'm trying to point out to you is that, and I'll get a little bit into it further down. I'm going to have to rush through this because I have like 60 more slides. So the Pharaoh bin Bali of Kuta Himyarites of South Arabia crossed into Africa and as well moves north into Jordan and Syria over time. And Pharaoh became known as, they were a tribe of the Sulaim bin Mansur, or the Solimi, who, I don't know if you're familiar with ancient Tacitus, but he wrote about the Solymi people being the ancient founders of Jerusalem. Okay, so, you know, I think I should skip this because it gets too involved. Well, yeah, am I losing anybody? Because you look. Yeah, I'm losing. Okay. All right, I just don't want to lose you. Oh.
So what time you want to wrap? Let's go ahead. Okay.
Well, you know what? Let me go through. This is
Is this where the people who want store came from?
Yeah, I was going to get into that, but you have to go. Yeah. Well, no, that's not, because I have to go, if we're going to go that early, then I have to go try to go through.
So maybe next time, Barry, you do the wrap up.
Yeah.
So you get
Well, you know what? Let me just, I'm not going to explain anything, I just have to go through the pictures very quickly because, so I'll see where the important parts are. Okay, so the Zagawa, some of this I already said before, they used camels and horses. They came into the Garamantian Empire. We're known for their horse training. And here's the Gawa, they occupied Chad and Libya and Sudan. And the Songhai peoples too are horse peoples, and they created the civilizations of Ghana and many, the Kumbisela, I'm not sure which one this is. Dar-Tichit, the Sonic civilization of Dar-Tichit. So when they came over to America, you had a lot of horse trainers that were, you know, slaves, freed slaves. They started to use the jockeys. They brought their horse training practices over here. The Hausa as well are part Songhai and let's see, there's another Hausa. They have a festival.
I think they try to work these ideas into the latest rework of roots a little bit.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they showed the...
Yeah, because that was more realistic.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? I like that part. Okay, and here's a house of the Hausa. Just to show you, they have the different designs there. Ancient, very ancient designs and motifs. And here's the, it's still Hausa. This is the Gawa again. Okay, so the Garamantes, here's some hydraulics, and similar to what they brought into Spain. Ancient Jerma, which is the capital of Garamantia.
Where is that? Where is ancient Jerma?
Jerma was the capital of Garamantia, which was in Libya.
Libya, okay.
Yeah. And here's some pyramids of Garamantia, and the remains under them are Phoenician. Some of them remains under them are Phoenician, because they use the pyramids are like the Meroitic pyramids of the Nile, because they're partially Nilo-Saharan in culture. And then there's the Phoenician aspect, and the Phoenicians came from Southwest Arabia, or the Eritrean Sea, like Herodotus said. But we think of them as Syrian people, but what happened was they moved into Syria as well as Africa at the same period.
Lebanon, major.
Yeah, they moved into Syria, which is Lebanon, or the Levant. You'll have to cut off some of this part when I'm like trying to rush, but, or getting aggravated. All right, so this is Dar-Tichit, which is one of the earliest civilizations in Ghana, and it goes back, the stonemasonry goes back to the first millennium BC. The Jenny culture is also the same kind of, you know, in central Mali, part of the Ghana and Songhai people. Tamantit was in Mauritania. Am I going too fast? No. I'm trying to rush. Mauritania, which was also part of Ghana. And here's some of the, let's see, important parts. If you notice, all these different civilizations look alike. They're down across Africa. And when we think of Africa, what do we think of? Do we think of these kind of things? No.
Yeah.
Think of Tarzan, it's so impressed in our minds. So, of course, scholarship was a major factor of ancient Sudanic, Sahelian, Moorish culture, especially the Muslim culture, I have to admit. So this is the Berber of Kabalia. The original Berber, they were actually, that area was conquered by the Vandals, Romans, Lombards, Byzantines, Greeks, Turks, and parts of Sardinia, and that's why you find in Kabalia, which is northern Algeria, many Berbers that are fair-skinned. Even though they don't really have a name for themselves, they just call themselves the Kabalia, which means the mountains, because they, these are people of the mountains. The Queen Kahina was of the Darawa Berbers, who were Zenata. Okay, they're also called further west among the Soning Wangara. So Wangara and all these Berber peoples of North Africa were the same. Garara is in central Algeria, also occupied by the Berbers, or the Arabic term was Barabir, and here's the Garara people. Okay. Garara Berber, they speak the Zenata Berber dialect. And here's Tamatit, which is also part of, I think this is Mauritania too. I forget, where's that?
It's in Algeria.
Yes, you're right, Algeria. Okay, and they also speak Berber dialects, the remnants of the Rif region of Morocco, because, the Zenata also occupied northern Morocco with the Masmuda and the Sanhaja. All right, so that's their civilization. These things all look alike. These places, not the people. And they're all like, a lot of them are surrounded by walls, just like the Phoenician or Canaanite cities were. Let's see. So here's his house. Here's the Gadames Berbers again in Libya. Part of the Numidian, Gadames was a Numidian city, also later called Sudanic city. Tamaran said Berbers of southern Algeria. So that whole area south of the coast of the Maghreb is still black. Okay? In this time. So these are more Malingo-Sunni traders called Bozo. They look just like the other people.
Bozo?
The Bozo. And here's a Masi. I think was that Burkina Faso or Ghana? I forget. Or Mali. I can't.
I thought they was all the way over South Africa.
Oh, no.
Central.
Nope. It's Western Africa. Gat is in Libya. See the same kinds of houses. It's a Berber kingdom. Now the Gat and the Gadames and the coastal areas are occupied by both Tuareg and the building people, the Songhai or Zagawa or Azawad or Zenata. So these three people, or these two people, the Sanhaja and the Zenata, the Tuareg and these Zagai people. The Zagai were usually the builders and the smiths and miners, agriculturalists, and the Tuareg were the nomadic people who wanted to conquer everybody and make trouble, and actually took a lot of slaves and stuff. All right, so here's Jenny again. Here's an Almohad castle. I think this was in Spain. Masmuda were the dominant people then. And here's Burkina Faso, and you see kind of the motifs of the ancient Moors. And they're actually, some of their houses look like castles, small castles. Yep. Okay, and here's another Almohad or Almohadin castle. And here's another palace in Seville, Spain.
Real quick, is there any similar castles of that sort in Northern Africa?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of them. Yeah. I should have taken them, but and this is also, I think, Cuba of Spain. It might be in I think it's in Spain. Yeah, I was just taking this part, showing the connection between Spain.
I mean,
The
Moorish, the
Oh,
Tuareg dynasty, they created these stairs. Now look here. Here's some artwork from New Orleans.
Same type of art, metalwork in Richmond, quite a few other cities.
Oh, wow. This time, really? Okay. Yeah, I have to get some of those pictures. So here you see the kind of motif of the trident, which was a symbol of the Songhai or Tuareg smiths.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. The trident is related to the Tuareg, especially. Yes.
That's also a Hindu symbol too.
Yeah, because they worship the same god, which is Naga, Shango, Dango, or Aman Nagi, or Enki, god of the water, god of low and high.
Oh, that's the same part of being.
Mm-hmm. God of the water,
okay.
God of low and high. In fact, I was going to put the symbol of Shiva on here.
Yeah, that's Shiva's.
The triad with the double axe, and that's also the Tuareg and Songhai symbols, especially in relationship to their god. And that, actually, the double axe symbol that the Tuareg used is related to the Aegean symbols too, as they went into the Aegean. There were the Salimi I was going to talk about, but I can't now. Okay, okay, here's the Salimi again. I'm trying to skip over the parts that get too complicated. Okay, so Ibn Raqiq in the 10th century AD says that the first people to inhabit Barbary were 5 colonies of Sabians under Ibn Ifriqi, king of Yemen, and that they gave birth to 600 tribes of Berbers. These 5 colonies were taken to be the Sanhaja, Masmuda, Zanana, Gamara, Hawara. Gamara are usually classified as Masmuda, and the Hawara are usually classified as Sanhaja. Okay, so this is Hajjama. You see the people here, they're wearing bands around their head, just like in the Moorish heraldry. And again, Dawasir. So they were on my site, Afro-Asiatic site. I talk about the Dawasir and how they were called black giants. Even in colonial times, they saw them. So remember that name Azd, because if you go look it up, you'll see that they were related to the Ansar.
And
the giant,
you said AZD, right?
Yeah, AZD. Related to the Aus.
How do the Amalekites fit into this?
Well, see, I can't talk about all that. People want to go.
Well, we do a part 2 then.
So that was the good part. That was the good part, but okay. So here's I'm getting into the people, the Hamathite people, and the Kenite Rechabites, and all those people that still call themselves by their names. The Hamada are still there. They're the mining people of Jordan, and they're still dark-skinned. And these Naza are representative of the ancient Nabatean people. Yeah, just see, I can't. Not much time, but in my other blogs, the Afro-Asiatic blog, I go into the Nabatean tribes work and clans work.
Oh, okay.
So there's an Azazel in Israel. We have a lot of conflict over there. They're Bedouin, actually. They're not.
And the Israelis discriminate on them. Those are the ones that Israel discriminate on, right?
Yeah.
They pretty much the ones that.
Well, they're discriminated by the non-Israelites, but these people also have connections to ancient Israel. So,
and you said they were Bedouin?
Bedouin, yeah.
Bedouin, they mean the people that nomadic, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, actually,
those are the last. These are the last of the northern Arabs. The Nabatean.
Oh, so okay.
All these people's names you're going to find in Roman times.
Okay, I see. Okay.
And Azazma, I was going to go into the fact that they're probably, somebody had brought up, one of the colonialists had brought up that they're the Zuzim in Ham, if you look at the Zuzim. The Zamzunim, the well Zamzunim, I think.
Wells of Zemzem and Arabia, okay.
Yeah, so that's the same thing. In the Torah, or the Bible.
It's the same well,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Talk about the Zamzunim people, or the Zuzim. Okay, so you've probably seen this on my blog if you've been there. The Masmuda period a Moor being, you know, I guess knocked off his castle.
That's during the Inquisition?
No, the Inquisition is after the Moors are there. This is when the Reconquista used to be. Yeah, when the
That's when the
Europeans,
Spanish came back. The Spanish came in,
yeah,
and they used to put them through
the
the conquest
Christians,
and then find out which one they was, and then
That's the Inquisition.
that's what that was,
Well,
right? That's the Inquisition.
Right.
Well,
This is before the Inquisition.
yeah, this is like the time before.
Before.
Yeah, this is right when the Moors are still in power. They're trying to conquer.
Right.
So they're showing this is a very old, you know, this is from that period. This painting is from that period. That's one thing about, you know, I think we should try to use paintings and things from the period instead of the ones that were recent. Because people will complain about that, you know, if you're not using the real thing. These are the Bedouin children of Jordan, probably of the Hawatite people. Now the Hawatite, if I can get into it, have a group called the Hawait bin Ham. If you look at the Bible, there's a people called the Hivites.
Hivites,
They're related to the Rechabites and the Hamathites. And the Hamada and the Rechabia are still there. All these tribes in the Bible are still in
that
places.
area.
Yeah.
That's the Hamada.
Yeah, nobody was lost, not Canaanite, not Edomite.
That's Yemen.
So, yeah, they're in the Hadramaut, in the furthest south of Yemen. Now, people try to create the vision that, you know, that other Yemenite Jews, the fairer skin, were also Habani, but not true. Just these particular Jews were the dark-skinned Jews. Yeah, this is the Numidia tribe who are related to the Maza, the Hagarites. This is actually plural for the Hadir or Hagarite. Okay, and here, I'm just showing this because of how dark they are. So in the ancient, not ancient, but medieval Chinese texts, they talk about what the Arabs looked like. They always said they were black, very, very dark skinned. And in one of these texts, it said, in the 13th century, an advisor to Zheng Hui said, the limbs and faces of these people are of a very dark color. They also said the people of Malabar were of a purple color. So very dark purple color compared to purple color. Purple color of Malabar, people of southern India, and the people of Hejaz, which is what they were talking about, not this place.
Hejaz is Arabia.
The place with the something square. Heavenly Square, the Kaaba. So that's the name of it, the document about the country of the Heavenly Square. That's what the Chinese call it. So that refers to the area around Kaaba, Medina, and Mecca, and Jeddah, where the Sulaim were. People I can't talk about. People that are the most important people, but I'm not going to talk about them in rush. All right, so here are, in the Tehama, also more Arabian people. This area is called Canaan. This is the original Canaan, the land of the Canaan.
Okay.
Yeah. In Arabic texts, unlike modern Western texts, the Canaan was south of Mecca, and I talk about this in my Blogspot if you want to go. And they moved north into Syria and became, other Canaanites. But that area is still called the Wadi Kanana, or the Wadi Kanana, land of the Canaanites. Shibam is in, I think it's also mentioned in the Bible, but it's too far south so people ignore it. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a few of these people that were in southern Arabia, whose names are very familiar in Arabic texts or medieval Arabic texts, like the Abs or Yabs bin Ghatafan. Yeah. Now I had
It was a coalition of tribes, though. Got defined.
Yeah. The Abs were one of them.
Yeah. Oh, that's what. Okay.
Yeah. They were called in ancient times the Jebusites of Canaan. Like I said, the Jebusites, the Canaan of the Bible, or of the Pentateuch or the Torah, was south of Mecca, and the Arabs, the Semitic people of the Bible, were the black people, mainly south of Mecca and central Arabia. Okay? Banu Zubian, or Zibian bin Ghatafan, was also the Horites, and the Horites were also called Hivites. Okay? So Ghatafan is also called Katafan, and according to scholars, it's also the same thing as Potiphar of Misraim, which is often translated as Egypt, but refers to the tribe of Misra, who are also there still. Go ahead.
No, I was just want to wait till you finish this. basically, like, look, like, I'm gonna just wait till you finish. I'll tell you what else.
Because yeah, it's fine. So as I was saying, the Hawatite people of Jordan have a tribe among them called the El Hawat, or the Lehawat, and their ancestor is Hawat bin Ham, who refers to the Hivites of Canaan. Okay, so there's the Hawatite came originally from Tehama in the south and moved to that area. So, in fact, most of the Arabs, almost all the Arabs came from further south, that are in Jordan and that are in Syria.
They came from Yemen.
Yeah, the original Arabs came.
Yeah.
Somebody from Yemen told me that. I didn't know that was true.
Yeah.
What do you say? The original Arabs.
One I used to work with who was from Yemen said that all the Arab tribes originated in Yemen. And then they spread throughout.
After the flood.
Is that correct? Okay.
From the Khatan people, also called Joktan in the Bible, son of Shem. That's who the Yemenites were, the Khatan.
The Khatan.
All right, so the Gerasa are also still there, black, and the Banu Kanana, also called Quraysh, pronounced Quraysh, means sharp. Okay, and Kamal Salibi, the author of the Bible, came from Arabia, because that's where I first started. The reason I first started studying this stuff is because of his book, which started to link in certain things, in terms of African history for me. So the Girgashites and Hivites and all these people, Jebusites that the Byzantines said were in North Africa, came from this area of Canaan and these people. Well, the Canaan named the area of Canaan. Okay, so the Hudhel are still there too. They're closely linked to the Kanana and Quraysh, and their skins, according to the colonialists, were black and shining. Now, if you know about the Lehanites, they're descendants of they were closely related to the Manaeans, and they were the original people that brought the worship of Yahweh to the area. Okay, so remember I said Yabs, or the Abs people, they live in Asir in the Yemen, or they lived in that area, part of the Murad tribe in Ghatafan, or Gutaif, and it says black. One of the early medieval writers said that there were black-skinned men shaking their spears and digging in with their feet. Now, let's see. Oh, wait, where's me?
Yeah, you got my computer thing.
Oh.
I'm still in charge.
So that's not going to link up to my, is it prayer time again?
Yeah.
No, regular. But Isha, we had a time for Isha, but we don't have a Biba time, I don't think.
Isha time.
In their time. I need a full of Biba. Yeah.
I was going to show you a picture or a video.
Yeah, let's see that. Try to squeeze it. Put that.
I'm gonna get it to Baltimore soon. Yeah.
So you said you have a radio
timelines for each one because see, the whole presentation. Like if you compare that with Islamic history, it explains the reason why the gaps in between. Like I just showed the people, nobody knows how the people all came together, how they were separated.
Nobody knows but you now, right?
No, not even me. You still don't know because the timelines are not there. And
well, for me, they're there, but
I mean, the timelines are there.
I will definitely take that into consideration for the next.
And if you can coincide that, like if you not gonna, I wouldn't expect you to know, but if you study Islamic
No, I do know because
I
I study ethnic groups of Arabian history, so I do know.
Okay, but I'm saying, so Islamic history explains why all of the tribes are separated. Like for example, Ghatafan and stuff like that. The Ghatafan and the Berber people, it explains how who was pagan, like based on them being pagan. And even in, like she kept saying, like logic and stuff like that. Like if you believed in oneness, like if you was a pagan tribe, you was given like 3 days and 3 options.
Okay, so
a lot of the tribes are split up. Like,
well, see, that's the problem is. The problem is with that is that this is not based on the Islamic. Actually, what I'm talking about is the pre-Islamic periods.
Yeah, no, I've seen that, but it goes.
So these people were already split up before Islam, or before the Islam of the Prophet Muhammad. Because Islam and the tenets of Islam were already in Arabia before that prophet. And there were several prophets that were battling each other for supremacy in that time across Arabia. Some just didn't make it.
You talking about like Doha, Taleha, Musalma, because they was all, Musalma, yeah, but they was all like, clowns.
Well, if you say so,
I mean,
He's saying they weren't chosen by the Lord.
no, I'm saying like they was the people, even their own people rejected them. And told them, and they,
all right, so Banu Kal.
What happened to the video? Yeah, I want to see that.
No, you can't, because the link up's not there, so it's on my YouTube. I was going to show you that the the tribes of Arabia stamping their feet with spears in the sand. They have a dance where they stamp. And it would have been perfect. But I think I have it on one of the blog. All right. So, and here's some more biblical names and Quranic names. The Banu Kalb, and pay attention to this because I'm going to show a picture next. It's going to be interesting. Banu Kalb, okay, so Caleb of Numbers 13:6 in the Torah Bible. Banu Saleh or Sheila, associated with the son of Shem. Okay, these actually are closely related tribes in Arabia in that time period. So, and in the biblical time period they were as well. That's why they all. So Khaybar was founded by the Banu Khaybar, I guess it's pronounced. And they're described as black too, the Jews of Khaybar. And those are supposed to be the Kahanim, according to scholars. So I have my descriptions of those people on the other sites. Banu Jundub or Jonadab, son of Rechab. Okay, Jundub, the Jundub. Yep. So the important part of this is the Canaanites included all these people. The Heber, the Rechabites, and they all came from the Hamathites. So that's why actually the Bible, in one way, it doesn't make sense because the people are all the same. They came from each other. It's just that they were separated by groupings, by castes more than what they did. Okay, the Banu Sulaim are today a tribe. In the 9th century, Ibn Jahiz talks about them being black and next to Medina, the Harat Medina, but they said that the entirety of the Hara area, the Hara, no, the Hara.
The Hara?
Hara. I don't know. I think it's Hara.
No, you're right. It's Hara.
Which is the volcanic area extending from the Hijaz into Syria. So all these people, he said, were black, including the Sulaim. And that includes the Abs and many other tribes, the Atiba. But if I had a Bible now, I could go through each part of Genesis and read all the tribal Arab names, because that's who they were. They were black people in the area of southern Arabia that went north to Syria. They had originally come from Africa. That's where they say they came from. The original tribes, the Sabian-speaking people still there, like the Mara, Kara. They claim to have come from Africa.
And so, what did it have, say the name of that kingdom, or did they have a kingdom? You know what I mean? In that area of Africa, they say.
Oh, they're talking about remote times.
Remote times.
Yeah, not like probably in the. Anyway, let me just show you the next one.
That's in Arabia, though, right?
Yeah, all this is Arabia. And all these tribes actually cross into Africa.
Yeah.
They're still in Sudan and places like that.
You said tribes of Hurrah, Hijaz, and Yemen, and Hebrews.
Yes.
Like the Hebrew, the original origin, not like them being Jewish or nothing like that.
Now there was a tribe called the Judeans, the Yehudim, who the Kenites were the founders of, and they created that land of Judea in the Assyria region. So the theory is that was or that has been proven basically is that all these people came from Southern Arabia, and later on the biblical translators who were Europeans, Persians, and everybody else had confused northern Syria and Turkey and all these places with the original places in Arabia and Yemen.
Okay.
So that's why they can't find so many other places. They can only find a handful of places in Israel that are related to the Bible. Or not Israel, I'm sorry, in the Levant in general. And Israel, you can't find any of those places, and yet in Assyria, which is the western part of southwest or western Arabia, south of Mecca, you have all the Israelite tribal names. In Central Arabia, you have all the Israelite tribal names. And I can go to that and show you that in my blog if you want later. But we're almost done, because now we're actually almost done. And maybe we can talk about this later. The Solomon, or the people of Salma, and the Psalms, the creators of the Psalms. So anyway, all these people, Banu Kuda, occupants of Yemen and Hajarat, created these Banu Kalb, Salih, Khyber, and Bali, and Cain were all of the Kuda Himyarite tribes. So they were found in Jordan and North Arabia as well as the Yemen. And it's a shame I don't have time, but I guess, this is as long as a book, so it is.
Is that your book?
Well, I'm going to try to make, something kind of based on this kind of thing. Now my book I have a book out called Fear of Blackness, and it deals with the Moors, again, in the Songhai and all this stuff.
Did that come out?
Well, it came out, yes, on West Africa Review. It's a peer-reviewed journal, but it's not in the book form yet. They're getting ready to publish it. Let me see. So this is just, I'm going to just show you how the music of the modern Hassaniya Moors, the people that are called Moors in Mauritania, they still, like the man, excuse me, they play music in the Maling style, which is similar to the blues. It's the roots of the blues music in America. So, can you hear it now?
Yeah, we can.
It's call and response for one thing.
Keep saying y'all not Moors. Keep saying y'all not Moors. Check it out. That B.B. King.
So, but just to make sure, this is actually the man style, or the Malink, Sonic, Songhai style of playing music. So all that blues, came from those people, directly from the Songhai. The Hassaniya are actually supposed to be part Berber and part Arabic, being the original Arab people, not the Arabized people.
So they migrated all the way to West Africa from the Arabian Peninsula?
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to talk about the Sulaim and the Hawazin bin Mansur, Manessa, who came into Africa in the 9th century, and they were the majority of the Arabs that conquered in North Africa. They fought against the Berbers and everything, and everybody hated them. But there's still some left in Algeria. Tend to be darker than the Berbers, because the Berbers are up there, so along the coast they're very fair.
Okay.
But these are descendants of Sulaim and Hawazin bin Mansur, who are the dominant. Oh, let me just go to another song just to show you something.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
On the post on your blog, on your Facebook blog, it says that you're going to talk about the Moors in Spain, why they commonly appear in European heraldry with a Star of David.
Say that again.
Then she said she was going to discuss why
I can't say
heraldry. You know,
that was to the Soleil Manessa and the Israelites and all that, but I can't talk about it. Which is a shame. But here's another. So the call and all that, of course, came over with the Muslims. And
What came over with them?
the call, the Islamic call what do you call it? Yeah, I should know that. I should know that. Well, let me show you.
Yeah.
She tries to show you how it influenced the music.
Try to pick up that in part 2.
Yeah, I guess.
And, but how you say the call had to do with the music?
Well, that's what I was trying to show you.
the call of the time was not been called the ancient. Just as the same rhythm that they do down south. Living Daoud goes into quite well.
Yeah, wait, let me just quickly finish up here. I'm finished, but just to let you know, when I talked about the cow, can you guys?
I'm sorry, apology.
I said I was finished. One important thing. I talked about the cow or Caleb and other tribes who were, for example, Zayd bin Haritha. Have you heard of him? They call him Black Short.
Yeah.
Adopted by the prophet.
Who was name was son of him.
Who was of the Quraysh. He was a slave. He was a Caleb slave, meaning he was from the Banu Caleb or Caleb, tribe of Caleb. And they founded a kingdom called the Kindites in Central Arabia, and this is some rock art from that period, just to show you. He's wearing an afro. And
so Zayd bin Haritha was from the tribe of Caleb.
Yep. Banu Caleb.
Banu Caleb. So Banu means sons of.
He was a Caleb slave.
True, right.
All of the Arabians before, they were in the period of Jahiliyyah, they were fighting against each other at the time of Horus. Okay, these are the Asiatic tribes that Brother Jamal was trying to explain to you. Okay, these are the Asiatics, the last of the Asiatics, of the Amu and all those people. So this is north central, in fact, Arabia, I think. But so the Kindites were there, the Caleb and the Thor, who were Caleb and Shur in the Bible, and this little small man is probably an ancestor of Zayd bin Haritha. So they were capturing each other. The other tribes were capturing each other. So.
But they did that before.
Yeah.
They still fighting now.
That's the.
Well, that's what they did.
Thank
you, everybody.
Thank you. Then you can come back and we got to start the next time. Try to start at 3.
Thank you.
All right, man. What was I saying? So.
Yeah. Islam. I'm trying to be your friend, man. I'm trying to be your friend, bro. Help me out. Meet me halfway. I wanna be your friend. Peace and love. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. I said you ain't never met a more like me, and you ain't never ever gonna meet one again. Now let me be your friend. Peace and love. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. I said you ain't never met a more like me, and you ain't never ever gonna meet one again. I wanna be your friend. Peace and love. Hey. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. Hey yo, I used to be a thug until I met the prophet. Now I'm all about love, truth, peace, and freedom till I return to Allah. One day we gon' meet her. I'm all about justice. That's the focus of the message. Sometimes Asiatics make someone forget the lessons. I be all up in my past.
start laughing. A grown man with a ponytail, another calling us Neanderthal. And here you are paying me for real. This is what it comes to, my brother. We got nothing better than to talk down to each other. Yeah, we can scholarly, okay, we can gutter. We are the children of our father, and the rest of our mother has nursed us all. And first of all, we beefing while the bean trying to murk us all. You need to chill, my brother. Tell the elder the same, cause on the real, my man, I'm really about them things. I can take the feds off and get back in the low. Then return to the state where they used to call me dope, but no, I'm rolling with the prophet of Allah. I want love, not war. Standing on that floor, then I'm holding the square. The compass and the axe, that might be too deep. Yo, let's not get off track. See, our prophet was an adept. Do you know what that is? An Egyptian adept is a brother who lived by the universal science developing the Nile. We call it Islam, but it's the same, my child. Sit at the foot of a master. I train you up, but I might have to bang you up. I still love you, and those that's talking that this ain't Islam. Everything the prophet brought is in the Quran. All the other stuff, prostrate and cover up is just the start. And there's space to me, the law's the heart. You can dress like Imhotep, but you can dress like a herb. While the Moorish American Muslim unifies the word. You can say what you want about Dr. York, but he gave you different variations of the same thought. You don't appreciate that. You won't appreciate me. Appreciate the holy and divine true Ali. People refuse to admit it. He the first that ever did it. Europeans hope that the Moors would forget it, but we here, strong, alive and well, resurrected from hell with a story to tell. So pay attention and listen and consider the facts. You know it's humanly impossible for you to be black. I guess a Chinaman is yellow, a Mexican is brown. Just think for a second how ridiculous it sounds. We can turn it around, but we must unite. It's okay to disagree, but we don't have to fight. Cause if we have to fight, you know how we get.
Family, I'll be back on Sunday. And on Sunday, we be back to the business of tearing down the falsehood. We be back to the business of making sure we have a clear conception of what is the doctrine of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. What was the prophet of the doctrine of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and what will be the doctrine of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. On Sunday, we go in. One more again. Let's go.
I'm still learning to love. No, I'm not there yet. So work with me, fam, and I'ma work with you. And let's all work together and do what we gotta do. Cause on the real side, we haven't made no progress since 1929 when the prophet left the flesh. We